I want to show you today cutting wounds that cracked open. Cutting wounds are obviously in a longer shape, like this, but if you want to have a nice effect, cracking effect, when the skin cracks open, you have to apply an irregular line of the skin that cracked open, you know? So wounds are never like just straight, at least not if you want to have some cool effect on your makeup. They are always like this. This would be actually a possible shape. You have to imagine it to be quite irregular. We are not looking for something like this. Nope, it's not something like this. It has to be somewhat, yeah, you can imagine it like the line of a country border. They are kind of the same in irregularity, like this, right? This is okay. This is okay. You will see the effect later. You just need 4 colors: white, red, brown, and black. These are old makeup crayons I have. They are really old. I'm only using them for like Halloween makeup. You need only these 4 colors. As a special effect, you can also use like this bright red lip gloss or lipstick. That's fine too, but it has to be really bright red without any shiny effects or anything. Like this, plain bright red. If you like, you can use brushes and eyeshadows instead of pencils, but I prefer pencils. And don't forget to prepare a couple of Q-tips. You will need them to blend it. Your fingers won't do, you don't have enough fingers for this. So let's get started. I am drawing today on my hand because it is easier for me to apply and to show it on the camera, but you can use any spot you like on your body, either the face or whatever you like. Make sure the area you want to draw on is clean. So no heavy makeup on there, no fatty skin, clean beforehand, and yes, have it right. To outsketch the general shape of the wounds, I would suggest you that you take the red liner and just draw your irregular shape. It is just a sketch, it doesn't have to be perfect yet. And I want to draw a smaller wound on the side because it has a nicer effect than just one. Than just one. If you make one big wound, it's fine, but in smaller areas, several small ones are nice to look at. So this is my general shape. Then, generally, when you painting wounds, it is important to begin with the darker color, and you always have to remember the deeper a wound is, the darker it gets. So we start with black and we draw like the really dark spaces and spots in the wound. You have to make sure, and I really don't want to explain it physically, but there will be spots of flesh and blood that will come through, and these spots will be the bright ones. So you have to draw around them. You can't draw just one black opening of the wound, you have to apply it around it. So, and these open spaces have to be irregular too. Something like this. It doesn't have to be perfectly drawn yet. We are still shaping it out. Sometimes I have to stretch my skin so I can apply it perfectly. This and here. Be sure to stay generally inside your red lines, like this. Right. Now I take the red one again. Red is obviously where the blood is. So you draw red inside of the black areas you have drawn. And again, you will leave space out inside of the red ones. Not only once, sometimes like here, two, and here. Again, don't be too regular with what you're drawing, you know? Don't be too regular, because anything on your body isn't supposed to be regular. Your blood isn't, your flesh isn't, wounds aren't. So, like this, leave the brighter spots for the brighter colors. If something is drawn brighter, then it's actually standing out of something physically, you know? So when you apply brighter colors up to white, this is the spots where the sun hits and they stand out like this, right? For example, I don't like this shape. This is too regular for me, so I just erase a bit of this. Then I take brown, and brown is used to blur the red and black a bit. Be careful, so you always have a nice, not a regularity, a nice blur. A nice balance, that's the word I was looking for. And now we come to the outer shape. So where the skin cracks open, it's supposed to have kind of a sharp edge. And this is where you apply mostly brown and you follow the irregular lines like this. Make sure you have some really edged corners in there too, because this is how cracks look like. And these edges we won't touch anymore later. So now they are important right now. Like this. When I'm drawing lines like here, they emphasize that it has been cracked. The skin, like dried paper. I guess you can already see what I mean. So brown is the color that mostly hits where still your skin color is visible. Like this. Yeah, the same here. And always make sure that the shapes of your wound get thinner and smaller to the ends, kind of like a lightning bolt. You can see it's like a lightning bolt in the end. My pencils, I usually don't want them to be very sharp, because that hurts when you're drawing inside of the wounds, but when it comes to the edges, they can be sharpened. It depends on how good you can draw without sharpened pens. If you're fine, you can do it like this. If not, please sharpen them up and then you can apply it. I am not happy about the end of this, so I take black again and emphasize it. The ends, the very ends can be really dark, that's fine, but they have to be thin. Remember that. It has to get thinner and thinner in the end. Doesn't matter where, it has to get thinner. Like this. Right. So now, because of the black and brown, we lost some red again. So again, I take red and try to put it on. Please, again, try not to draw over all the empty spots, we still need them, like this. Now, because I think these shapes are too regular, I just blur them out a bit. But well, that's just my hang for perfection. You don't need to if you don't want to. So like this. Now we start with the special effects. And again, we take brown. And you have to know that the skin, which is cracked at the sides here, at the edges, sticks out. So if you have a wound, the skin at the side will stick outwards. And behind that, it will have a rush. And it will cast a little shadow too. So for the shadow, we apply brown. It has to be really light. You have to avoid having like lines. You're drawing shadows, so the shadows have to be... Take the pencil at the side and draw with the side of it. Don't worry yet. Even if you sketch some strict lines like that, which you are not supposed to do, we can blur them out later, but try to avoid it. It's just too much work. And you see, I follow the edges of the wound. You have to leave like half a centimeter out around this. You have to leave it empty so we can see the color of your skin, because this is the part where your skin will stick towards you, out of the wound. So don't draw inside this area. When you apply brown, you try to blur it outwards, so there are no sharp edges outwards, like this. And because we have here another wound, this area can be just kind of brown. It's fine if it looks like this. The main thing is not to draw too close to the wound, and that it has to be irregular. It has to follow the edges of the wound. Don't worry if it looks messy right now, that's fine. We will deal with that shortly. So we have it like here. I like it darker even here. The darker you get, the heavier the special effect later. We take a Q-tip again and blur out just a bit. So you see, so blur out heavily towards your outer hand or skin. It has to be a soft merge from your skin color towards the brown. Like this. But don't merge towards the edges of your wound. Don't. At some points I really blurred too much, so again I apply brown. Like this. You have to see how much you wish away with your Q-tip. If it's too much, you have to reapply. If you use your Q-tips for merging and brushing and erasing, be sure that you never use the same Q-tip for another color. It will destroy it. So go like this. Right? Yeah. So now we take red, and this is special effect part 2. So I told you that your skin will have rushes, like red rushes from just being hurt. You can look up wounds on the internet, or maybe don't, I don't know. Maybe look in a medical medical book, and you can see what I mean. or maybe you remember from your own wounds when you had scratches or cuts or whatever, your skin around it becomes red because it's hurt. So that's a normal reaction. Again, try to avoid hard red lines like this, but if they happen, okay, we can merge them later. Don't be too light, however, otherwise we have to reapply. So like this. I'm a bit messy, but well, I can deal with it. Here, again, fresh Q-tip, and now we blur. Try to avoid going too close to the edges of the actual wound, but still blur out. And it can be darker towards the insides, you know? It's like I told you, the more out you go, the lighter it is supposed to become. Like this. Right. I am still not happy here. This is too bright for me. You can see here it's a little bit darker, and here it's a little bit darker, but here it is too bright for me, so I take a little bit brown again and go like this. Right. And a little bit red. And blur again. I can take this time the same one I used before, it's the same color. Reddish brown, that's fine. So, okay. And now comes the most now for the most difficult kind of special effect, white. You have always to make sure that your white pencil is clean. So you will see me clean them up on my hands because this is the easiest way, but you can also use a paper or a towel or whatever. So it has to be really, really white, and you have always to put it first on the really empty spaces, you know, and push quite a bit, because otherwise you won't have a nice special effect like this. And you see, one side is still white, the other became red, so now I clean it up on my fingers like this. You can do this on a towel or a tissue or whatever. Like this. And again, on the empty spot, you push, and like this. You will worry about the actual shape of the white spaces soon. For now, just try to fill them out a bit. Again, don't try to draw twice with a pink white pencil. It won't. You will have pink runes in the end. The special effect will be lost. So, of course, I will clean this later with my fingers, but for now, just for convenience. You can see it's already becoming pink, so yeah, maybe I actually use a sheet of paper because my fingers aren't a bit enough for this. Perfect. Here again, a bit. Okay, the same goes for here. Be careful not to draw over the edges, like this. Okay. Reapply. I really want to have it bright white, so I'm going for several times if needed, but be careful that it doesn't get pink, as I told you. Okay. And you can already see that it looks like wet flash generally. Now I take red again and I blur the edges of the white a bit, just a bit, otherwise you will lose the whole effect of the light hitting the wounds. Just a bit, like this, and here too. Now I take brown again and because, for example, here the wound edge doesn't fit anymore, improve it a bit. Oh. It's all just a play between dark and light and red, nothing more. Now I take black, improve again. Like this. Okay. Again, we go for white, and now we emphasize the edges of your skin. You remember that is sticking out? Yeah. So don't draw a straight line along it. Nope. You have to kind of shape it like what you've drawn before, along the cracks, like this. This can be now quite a hard line, that's fine. Always stay outside of the black though. Make sure your pencil is mostly clean again. And draw always out from the wound, like this. It can be really bright white right now. So what is hit with light seems always to come closer than the things that are in the dark. Like this. We will get a nice effect of ripped skin. It is really cool in your face. When you do this on your face, you can go alongside, you can go across. You can go across your nose if you like, or across your eye, and it still has a nice effect, but then the wound should be at least like 10 centimeters long. I guess this is about 9 centimeters. Yeah, don't go inside this red area, just stay mostly here. Like this. And again, we take a fresh Q-tip and we blur now outwards again. Don't touch it from the inside of the wound. You see, you have to respect the borders, respect the edges of the wound. Always respect the edges of the wound. Like this. And always outwards. Don't do it sideways. Always outwards. Away from the wound, we draw like this. The same for this wound. It should be irregular. This is what is the beauty of natural skin behavior and wound behavior, if you can talk about beauty there. It's irregular. I just apply some white more because it blurred out too much. This. Again here. Always outwards. And blur it out a bit again. The blurring is really easy with makeup pencils, so be careful that you don't erase everything you did. Right. I kind of think I should blur the red here a bit more. Of course, if I am drawing a big cut or a really big wound on myself, I apply more colors like nude, for example. But it's perfectly fine if you do it like this. If you go up until 15 or 20 centimeters, you can use just these 4 colors with makeup pencils. Okay, so now, as I told you before, you can use the lip gloss or lipstick if it's really red. Make sure you have quite a bit of color up here. Can you see that? Yeah, that's not too dry. You have to have at least some fluid color on the tip of it. Take your hand or your face or whatever you like and try to apply it quite next to the bright effects of the wounds where your red already is. Just be careful. Like this. See that? I'm taking more and apply it next to the white. Don't cover all of your red spots. You also need not shiny red areas. If everything's shiny, it doesn't work, or it doesn't look as good as it should. Here. If the wound is as small as this one, you have to be quite delicate, otherwise you will just smudge everything red. Yeah. Like this. And the hand is ready. This is really close up, but if you step away from it, or if someone sees your face from like half a meter or 1 meter or 2 meters, so several feet away, it has a really real life effect. It looks really accurate and real. So, can you see? The further you go away, the greater the effect. It doesn't have the same effect on the hand as it does on your face or a big other skin area on your body, but it's still cool. You can draw it also next to your, along your cheekbones, like the smile of the Joker, and it looks like your face has cracked up on the sides, your smile has cracked up. So, I hoped I could give you some good advice. It takes just a couple of minutes and 4 pencils, 4 colors, and I hope you have a nice Halloween.